weekly show in the Bitcoin space. Every once in a while, we'll let somebody from the comment section come onto the show and join us to rap about Bitcoin.
Should we have him introduce himself?
Yes. What is your Zap.stream name, sir?
I'm gonna read my NPub. Just give me 20 to 30 minutes.
We had obviously we have MBK joining us.
Even if you're audio only, it's the most recognizable voice in Bitcoin.
Oh, what a week, gentlemen! It's been a week in every sector of the Bitcoin industry, whether it's nation states dumping, ETFs pumping. We've got Trump joining us at the Bitcoin conference in a couple of weeks here. Big meeting here in the U.S. on Capitol Hill with the Senate Agricultural Committee and the CFTC. A lot to talk about. But first, how are you? How's your well-being? How's your mental health? Are you guys doing okay? Mental health check.
It's good, man. It's summer now. You know, we're all like trying to be outside and ship stuff, and you know.
We're 6 years into RHR, never skipped a week, so we're gonna have a new segment at the beginning of every episode, which is just mental health check. Marty and Matt.
And you guys gonna flash the suicide number on the screen? You know.
That's not funny. Don't joke about that. Are we gonna give the number? I feel like now we have to give the number. I don't know. You can search on DuckDuck.
You can put it on the recording part.
On the Germany news, on Germany dumping a shit ton of coin. I particularly liked Sailor's tweet. His tweet in German. What was it? You get Bitcoin at the price you deserve, but he wrote it in German.
Yeah, I think Bitcoin Gandalf's meme too of that scene in the Hitler movie.
Was it the whole video?
Yeah. Did
he redub the video?
He redubbed the whole thing. It was really good.
That's a strong meme template. I like that meme template.
It's a great one.
This is not the first case of a government dumping a shit ton of coin. The U.S. government has, I don't know, just massive amounts of generational wealth.
Since 2014, I believe it's like 185,000 Bitcoin.
Doesn't Lob have a site?
I think he does.
I'm surprised MBK doesn't have a site yet. Lob, do you, MBK, do you have a site?
We track Germany there.
No, but
we track Germany.
No, specifically how much they dumped and when they dumped, not how much they hold and when they hold. It's the reverse.
But we have each entry for sale and purchase on the treasury.
It's different. Okay, so how much can you go to your site and tell us how much the U.S. has dumped historically? Because you could do that.
Was it BitcoinTreasuries.net, Logan?
Yeah, let's see here. I don't know. I haven't tracked the countries in a while, but it's here.
You're on our show now, so Logan reserves the right to mute you at will whenever he wants.
Sure. It says America has 66,000 Bitcoin.
No. That we know that. How much have they sold?
Well, they sold. They started with 69,000, and then they added 25. No, yeah, they added 25,000, and then they sold 43,000, and then they sold 9,000, and then they added 173,000, and then they sold 1,000.
Okay, so there's what was the math? They sold like 50K.
Allegedly.
50K Bitcoin.
Allegedly. You know, like the country stuff, it's impossible to know. Like,
well, we know Draper bought
for the Germans.
We know Draper bought the 30,000 Bitcoin.
Yeah, like $300 trade of the century.
Yeah, all this shit's gonna go back in history books. It's just like it's like when the Russians sold Alaska to the U.S. for like $50. Like that.
Yeah,
it's gonna go down in history. It's pretty crazy to witness.
They could have invaded Canada.
They could have saved their country by accident, and instead they just deliberately dumped. I don't think we'll have to invade Canada.
You know, it'd be great. Blast Canadians with your constitution.
No, I think we do have to invade Canadians or Canada to save the Canadians. You know, they're good people. I know a lot of Canadians. one of which is joining us right now, and you guys deserve
I
to be
don't know
safe.
Canadian. I think we balkanize eventually, and then Canada will just be, certain different Balkan states that interact with the other Balkan states in the U.S.
I mean, let's start with Alberta. Maybe Alberta can lead the way here. We can have an example to look to. Alberta seceding from the rest of Canada, just taking advantage of all their oil and gas.
It's going to be hard to do that when you're the only province that doesn't have any border outside of the country.
Yeah, but what is it? It's like 90% of Canadian populations within like 40 miles of the border or something like that.
100. Yep.
Yeah. All right, that was Canada talk. Let's get to the dashboard. Just blow through it so we can get to the list. So, first topic on the list is something that you can speak to, NBK. Right now, the price of Bitcoin is 57,880 cuck-bucks. One cuck-buck's going to get you 1,728 sats. Still above $1 trillion market cap at 1.14 trillion. We're at block height 851,715. We are approximately 1,053 blocks away from the next difficulty adjustment, which is estimated to be on July 18th, so a week from today. And that's looking like an upwards adjustment of 1.1% as of right now, which is interesting because blocks have been coming in, or that's not interesting, it makes sense. Blocks have been coming in at 9 minutes and 53 seconds on average since the last difficulty adjustment, which happened last week. They're currently 168,727 transactions in Clark's mempool. If we go over to mempool.space, I think I have it up here somewhere. There are 221,860,000 transactions in Mempool's mempool. Fees still low, 7 sats per VByte across the board. So if you're looking to consolidate some transactions, do so now.
Oh, you don't think Memphis will clear?
No, they're going to clear this weekend.
So then why would you do it now? Why not just wait?
You can set just consolidate, set your 1 sat per VByte transactions, and it'll happen over the weekend.
Okay, Marty's guaranteeing it, freaks. I do not think that's
Matt, I have to say you can't see it because you're not on Twitter anymore, but there's people saying that stay humble stack sats is lame. It's complacent.
Well, first of all, are they all in yet?
I don't know.
You can't please everyone. You really can't.
I think it was a gross mischaracterization of stay humble stack sats. It was.
Who was it? Name and shame.
Michael Sovereign Mindset, I believe, is his handle.
Fuck that.
But I think it's time to. I think it's a good opportunity to rehash what stay humble stack sats means, because we've been saying that for years, and I don't think we refresh people about what the original intent of the saying was back when you originally started saying it.
Oh, it was Matt was drinking at this casino, and then he put everything on red, and he said, "Stay humble and start sats," and like lifted his hands, and he got his returns, and that's it. That's how it happened.
That's the origin story. I mean, I think DCA in general in Bitcoin land has like been part of the culture for a long time because it just takes the emotion out of it. We lost it for a little bit in the 2017 cycle because it got so degen and like the ICO whatnot and like the ICO craze and stuff. So I mean, stay humble stack sats was just to bring it back to conservative long term mindset, and the sats part was key because at that point sats weren't the standard yet. Now everyone just knows what sats are. But everyone was saying, "Oh, like Bitcoin's too expensive for me. I'll never afford a full coin." So sats makes it easy. The truth of the matter is you either stay humble or you get humbled in Bitcoin. Like it's a game of fucking survival. So it's not really up for argument. And as far as I'm concerned, people who try and be like alpha male influencers telling you how to live like a good life and be addicted to Twitter is just a massive hypocrisy. So to each their own. But I think people should stay humble and stack sats.
All right, cleared that up. And to be clear, it's
not involve an OnlyFans girlfriend.
And also, I think we all say it while being like all in Bitcoin. You can be humble and be all in. You just don't use leverage, so you don't get fucking wrecked. I mean, my early experiences with BitMEX was just deposit only. You would just deposit, you'd be up for a little bit, and then you'd lose all your money, and then you just deposit again. You never tested out the withdrawal feature.
Yeah. No, I think the message too is it imbues this sense of complacency and resting on your laurels, just sitting and waiting to get rich, which I don't think is the message either.
Was that the straw man argument?
Yeah.
Okay.
And not taking agency over your life, which is not the message that we've been putting forth.
Marty, where does porn
you should
fit into
consider
this?
not being addicted to fucking Twitter. And if he thinks the Bitcoin movement needs things done for it, then he should probably do those things, because I haven't seen anything.
Okay. I didn't want to start off a controversy, but I did.
You did. You straight up did it. I found out about it on air.
All right. Speaking of on air, we got to get to the list. Wasabi Wallet version 2.1.0 adds safeguards for CoinJoin participants. There was also a security incident disclosure, which the team at Coinkite helped disclose. So, MBK, I'll let you take this. What happened? What was the security incident, and why should people using Wasabi act?
Well, let me just clear one thing. We didn't help disclose. We that they did the disclosure. We just helped find out. So we have this very simple concept called binary watch. It's a binary watch bot at binarywatch.org, and it's a free thing where we watch binaries that people can download. Essentially, like the file that you download to install without having to build from source. Nobody checks signatures. So we figured, hey, we watch the websites, because it has happened before through history a lot of times. A developer has a website where he lets people download the software, and then instead of the attacker go and change the software or try to do something else, they put a evil binary in their website, because the website is not as well defended as the project normally, right? So people download that bad binary that often has a virus or some black door or whatever, and lose money or lose their bank accounts or whatever. So we watch some Bitcoin projects, their binary, and we check their binary against their signature from the maintainer, and we keep the 2 last copies of the binary, the versions. So if you follow the bot on Twitter or checks the website regularly, and some attacker goes and puts an evil binary on that website, you'll throw a warning. And that warning happened just recently with Wasabi Wallet.
So, I mean, let me just summarize what MVK just said real quick. The reason we verify signatures of app files, of these binaries when we install them, is because you want to make sure that they haven't been changed since the developer released them. So if you're using Sparrow Wallet, Craig Raw releases a new version of Sparrow Wallet, you want to make sure that hasn't changed in transit, that you're actually getting the Sparrow Wallet that Craig Raw uploaded. Now, everyone should actually go and verify signatures themselves when they install these files, but most people don't. So the binary watch bot essentially is just automatically doing that constantly, and will send out a tweet or a Nostr post if they see something change.
That's much better explanation. And so anyway, so we've caught a diff, like there was an issue with a join market once. When developers change signatures or something happens, also it's going to throw warnings. Just because you throw a warning doesn't mean it's the end of the world and you no longer have coins. But do check and maybe stop what you're doing and see what happens, because oftentimes there will be some communication and developers will put out a statement or something saying, this time there was an actual problem. There was a malicious binary on the Wasabi wallet.
Windows binary was changed.
Yeah, don't use Windows.
Yeah. What did you see in the comments? They think you're in a Windows 95 background right now.
It is, and I have a fan on.
No, and for anybody out there, how can this affect me? If you download this malicious binary, it could essentially present you with addresses that are not associated with your wallets, and you could send Bitcoin to a bad address.
What's a really cool example here is, regardless of how few followers the bot has on Twitter or Nostr, because the bot existed, it got caught really, really fucking quickly because a few people were watching the bot. So I mean, I don't have exact download numbers, but I assume very few people had downloaded the Windows update right away. It was a little bit of an extra bad time for it to happen and a convenient time for an attacker to do it, because the Wasabi contributors right beforehand were like rushing people to update, because this whole thing stemmed from the fact that now that they switched to an open coordinator model, one of the main coordinators was stealing people's money by charging significantly higher fees than clients thought they were charging. So this update was supposed to mitigate malicious coordinators, and they were tweeting and Nostr posting about updating ASAP. And then they released the update, and then the update got compromised on the Windows side.
Remember, bad guys love doing shit on a Saturday, middle of the night. It's always like in a nice holiday evening or something. That's when like you should be the most attentive, and never download software around that time. Never do shit on Friday. Wait for Monday. Monday end of the day. Don't push new code to servers on Friday. Don't make releases on Friday. It's not a good
also one gets covered on RHR for a whole week if you release on Friday. So you're just really just kicking yourselves.
I mean, we try very hard. But even last week, we didn't have a blog post until this week, but we made the release Thursday just for you guys.
Thank you.
I saw yeah, I mean, I think last week you released it like an hour before RHR and sent me a text message because you didn't have a post about it yet and you wanted it on RHR. We have Cypher Citizen in the Nostr comments. By the way, the Nostr comments live chat, you don't need a Nostr account. It's rhr.tv/stream. It's always lit. We have Cypher Citizen there saying, finally got my hat. It took so long that I thought Odell was trying to reinforce the fact that you should not pre-order anything. You should not pre-order anything. I just want to apologize to the freaks that it's taken so long to ship them. These hats are truly limited edition, because I'm never fucking doing that again. Like, I had to manually box them and put labels on them and bring them to the post office, like amid travels all the time. So if you got one, congratulations. And sorry for the delay.
And I will make a bet that supply will inflate at some point in the future.
And also, don't text me that you haven't received it yet. They've been mailed out in a rolling order. So just because Cypher got his doesn't mean you necessarily have gotten yours yet. So don't be like, it hasn't shown up yet. Just wait.
You heard here. Email Matt.
And then you can message me if you haven't gotten it.
Yeah. Next up on the list, product update from Mempool.space. They've officially launched their Mempool accelerator. So we've been talking about this for, I think, the better part of a year now. I think they announced that they were working on it before the Bitcoin conference last year, and now they feel that it's battle tested enough to move it out of beta and publicly available for everybody. Why is it massive?
Because Mempool's never clear again, and people are going to have stuck transactions, and they're going to want to accelerate them. Logan, go up to one of the blocks that hasn't been confirmed yet. Go like 3 blocks deep. Okay, now go down, click one of the transactions. You can click in the visualizer. Yeah, click a transaction. Now, if you just scroll down a little bit, you just press the accelerate button. And then it just shows you a Lightning invoice. You pay the Lightning invoice, you get in the next block. Boom, done. Clean as fuck. Huge shout out to Wiz and the guys at Mempool. I think this is fucking awesome.
Yeah. Oh, man, I definitely need to thank him for adding push TX in like a week.
Yeah, they ship.
That was awesome. Yes. Thanks, Wiz.
Why was that speed of pushing push TX massive?
No, because it's cool. Like, we didn't want to be the only the only push TX server, right? We wanted somebody else, third party, to be the first one, and they were very kind to add it right away.
Yeah,
Carlos. Oh, sorry.
Oh no! It comes with the Mempool.space main master sort of branch. Like, if people are running, they can run their own.
Well, it's important because, like, when he ships it, he doesn't want it to just be Coinkite's server that's broadcasting the transactions.
Yes.
And also, when people you like work with ship things quickly, it's just like it just goes off the to-do list. It just makes it so much easier. The Carlos made a good point. Ride or die free Carlos. He prefers morning rips, but he still joins us for the afternoon rips. For the audio only freaks, the way the mempool.space acceleration works now is you don't need an account or anything. You just go to mempool.space. You go to the transaction you want accelerated. It doesn't even have to be your transaction. It could be a friend or family member's transaction, or someone sent you money, or an exchange sent you money or something. And there's just a big fat purple accelerate button there. You click that and it shows you a lightning invoice. You pay that and it gets in the next block. Boom, done.
Yeah. This will be massive during times when mempools are actually full and fee.
Mempools are full right now, Marty.
Fee markets.
Is there a guarantee? Is there like some guarantee or something?
So they're working right now. They have 43% of hash rate is on board with this. This is like the technical background. So if nearly half the hash rate mines the block, it'll be included. And they have a cool monetization split in the background where all miners are encouraged to participate, and it's open for them to participate, because regardless if they're the one who finds the block, they get their proportional amount of that acceleration fee. So like if you're just like 2% of the hash and you're participating and Foundry gets the block, you get 2% of that fee, or whatever the actual math is, like 2% of 30%.
So there is no a mempool anymore. There's just the mempool.
Yeah, just Wiz's mempool. It's been that way for a while, but now it's more obvious.
Next up on the list, we have news in the case surrounding Samourai Wallet. TDev was in court in Southern District of New York earlier this week, and he has been permitted to live in Portugal with a tracking device on him. He will have to check in the Southern District of New York, I believe, once every 3 months. He was released on a $3 million bail, and I believe the next court hearing is on September 10th.
I think it's in for court hearings, and it's like within the 3 months period anyway.
Yeah. So this is good to see. It was there was nobody really knew where TDev was for a number of months there. It seems like he surfaced and sat before the court earlier this week, and so again, that Samourai case will continue to proceed starting in a couple of months here, almost exactly 2 months.
And you can donate to their defense fund at p2prights.org. Tax deductible or anonymous, up to you.
This is pretty big news. Block and Core Scientific came out with a big announcement yesterday morning that Core Scientific is going to be Block's first customer for their 3-nanometer ASIC chips. Block will be supplying Core Scientific with 15 exahash worth of their chips, which Core Scientific will plug in and mine with. From what I understand, they are initially going to be putting these chips into form factors that already exist. So you can imagine S21 or S19 XP form factors that they're sort of opening up, putting the chips into. But from what I understand, word on the street is that they will be designing their own form factors for these chips as well at some point in the future. So this is something that we've been talking about on this show for a couple of years now, at least. Block announced their mining initiative many years ago. They've been building out in the open, and it seems that now they've reached a point where they're ready to get their ASIC chips to market, which is an incredibly welcome entry to the market because, as we all know, the market for Bitcoin mining ASICs is hyper centralized, with Bitmain making up a lion's share of the market, MicroBT in a distant second, and we need more competitors at this level of the Bitcoin mining industry. And hopefully with Block's initiative to be as forthright and open sourcing a lot of the things they're building, this will enable miners to do more personalization, particularly at the firmware level, so that they can basically set up their operations in a way that is conducive for their particular environment or the particular power contracts that dictate that they need to participate in demand response and need their machines to respond within a certain amount of time.
How many chips is that?
Yeah, how many? Yeah, Marty, you're the mining specialist.
It's hard. I mean, it's 3 nanometer, and that's the one thing they didn't release was like
You divide 15 exahash by 3 nanometer, and then you get.
Well, you don't like you can
I'm
have a
kidding.
3 nanometer chip, but some can produce some hash rate, and others can produce more or less.
If you're using the current hash per chip, like what would that be?
I believe the 21 XP is something like 270. I believe, could be wrong. And it's 17 and a half joules per terahash, which is pretty insane efficiency. So 15 extra. I can't do the math, Marty math, but it's a lot. It's a lot of. It's probably 15 megawatts worth of miners if they're that energy dense. So
they specifically gave us certain units, but the math is you can't really extrapolate. I mean, you can extrapolate on the same unit level, right? Which is currently the estimated hash rate of the Bitcoin network is 521 exahash. So this would be about 2%. 2% of the current total is being delivered, which is not nothing. Like that's a substantial amount. And to just pile on to what Marty was saying about ASIC manufacturing centralization, I always think it's important to point out that MicroBT, the makers of What's Miner that are number 2, they're ex Bitmain as well. So it's
but I don't think it's like I think that was not an I don't think that was an amicable breakup. I think Dr.
It wasn't, but it's still like he's the guy who made the S9, like the AK-47 of Bitcoin miners. And then he left and made MicroBT. So like in terms of at least like mind share, like it's still very much Bitmain dominated family over there. But yeah, they don't like each other now, so we have that going for us. I do wonder, like the open source aspect is really interesting because we want to see more manufacturers. I think would be ideal, and I believe if you actually properly open source it, it would lead to that. Maybe
I don't think they can open source the whole chip, eh?
I think they're very careful in their press release. Like we're going to open source what we can.
I mean, MVK is proactively realizing where I'm going since we've been friends for so long. On the BitKey, they use the NVK license. So it was the commercially restricted MIT. Like they use the same exact license as the cold card, which is you can do anything with it except do something where you make money off of it.
No, you can even sell to friends. You can do like as a user, you have full rights. It's the most permissive license you could possibly have as a user.
Besides MIT.
Besides MIT.
Besides having the commercials. But my point is, in this case, right, if they did the ASICs under the same license, I don't think it really does much, right? Isn't mostly just a PR
no,
thing?
the problem with the chips is that like there's a lot of blocks on the silicon, right? Like that you're licensed from other people. And you don't, but they have like patents on it or whatever. So it's not like you can just like go and do some stuff. So it's not a choice oftentimes with the silicon, like the licenses that you inherit just due to patents.
Right, that makes sense. I guess it would help with building firmware out because you would know like what's
that's
running.
The most honestly that's the most important thing to open source. I mean, of course, if you don't open source the chips, you'd be worried about backdoors, but let's run with the assumption that Block's not trying to backdoor the ASICs. Don't assume.
Didn't SIA Mining have some back?
Yeah,
at some point they did. But the firmware I think is more important. It's like I said earlier. That's the problem with Bitmain. And Bitmain,
he froze as he dropped. Continue.
Bitmain this year has made it even harder to jailbreak their firmware, which miners desperately need, again, to either underclock or overclock or have fast response times if they're engaged in demand response contracts. And so if the firmware is open source and allows individual miners to really mess with the firmware to make it specific to their setup, that's a massive benefit for the industry.
Yeah. So that's the single biggest gain.
Yeah.
But obviously distributed manufacturing. I assume they're manufacturing these in America. I know they manufacture BitKey in America.
I find that hard.
There is no fabs for chips in America.
There's no 3 nanometer. There might be one 3 nanometer. I think Intel has one, but
Yeah, but it's for like some contracts with the military. Like it's all like tiny production, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
I
well, thank you, Tina.
imagine they're doing that somewhere else. I did not see this, but BitMEX has pled guilty to a Bank Secrecy Act offense.
Such bullshit. It's just they're double dipping. It's the same thing that they already pled guilty to.
Really?
But now it's like a different 3-letter agency's going after them. And BitMEX's response was like, we already pled guilty to this and paid the fines and added KYC. Like, please don't give us another fine.
Is that double jeopardy?
I mean, I think double jeopardy is for like murder and shit.
No, I think it applies to anything.
I mean, Logan, can you hit us with the... Do you know? There we go.
Yeah, not lawyers.
I have no idea, Marty. I think they can do whatever the fuck they want to do. But BitMEX is like, please serve me familia. Like our CEOs left. They were on house arrest. We paid the fines. We said what we said we did wrong. Don't hit us with it again.
How big is the fine?
The last one, honestly, I didn't think it was that large.
Wasn't it like 400 million or something like that?
Yeah, they made billions of dollars. I think like Arthur paid 10 million.
Was it 40 million?
40 million, yeah. I added an extra zero.
Arthur paid 10 personally. Like the CEOs, like the founders paid like $10 million a pop. Like it was cost of doing business kind of fine.
Yeah. And they're double dipping. Double jeopardy. It is double jeopardy. I'm being confirmed in the comments that any crime can't commit the same crime twice.
But I love it.
You've been psyoped by
you're just citing archiving Clown World in the YouTube comments as your fact check, but
hey, you don't know. Maybe he's a lawyer, okay?
Sources say
that this is double jeopardy.
I've heard from many good people.
Yeah, I mean, that's just the first of a few headlines that pertain to the state coming in and really flexing their muscles as it pertains to KYC AML laws. Paxful's co-founder, Arthur Shabak, pled guilty to conspiracy to fail to maintain an effective AML program with Paxful. Ray Youssef, the co-founder of Paxful, I mean, he made some noise when he left the company last year saying that his...
You got to listen to Dispatch if you haven't listened to that little Dispatch. That was the most lit Dispatch I've ever recorded.
Give us a little synopsis.
Well, he was like in like a cafe somewhere, and it was, I don't know. It was as everything was unfolding. You had to be there. I mean, it's available on the internet. You can go watch it now. Wait till after this episode.
Yeah. So according to court documents from July 2015 to June 2019, Arthur Shabak used Paxful Inc. to operate Paxful, an online peer-to-peer virtual currency platform and money transmitting business where customers negotiated for and traded virtual currency for a variety of other items, including fiat currency, prepaid cards, and gift cards. During this time, Shabak allowed customers to open accounts and trade on Paxful without gathering sufficient know your customer information, marketed Paxful as a platform that did not require KYC, presented fake AML policies to third parties that he knew were not, in fact, implemented or enforced at Paxful, and failed to file a single suspicious activity report, despite knowing that Paxful's users were perpetrating suspicious and criminal activity.
And he faces 5 years in jail, I think, and like a fine.
Yeah, he's scheduled for sentencing on November 4th, 5 years in jail, and he's agreed already to pay a $5 million fine and resign from Paxful's board of directors.
Carlos in the comments remembered correctly. I specifically asked Ray about a news story where he was arrested in Miami for waving a AR-15 on the roof of their building, and there
were video.
He told me in the audience that when he did get arrested, they stormed into the apartment and he was wearing American flag underwear, and that was it.
It's like how the guy from BTCE got taken down, like in his underwear, and they raided his house.
I mean, BTCE was a crazy one. He was in Greece on vacation, and they just crashed through his gate with a unmarked car, and when he ran out in his robe, they arrested him, and his computer was unlocked.
Yeah. Try to get you. Be careful. Next up, continuing on this trend, Relay app users must verify their accounts by October 31st or stop using the service. So Relay, for anybody who's unfamiliar, is a Swiss-based app for buying Bitcoin directly to self-custody. It announced that all users must verify their accounts by October 31st, 2024. Unverified users will need to complete the verification step to access all app features, including buy orders and wallet functions. However, you can always retrieve your 12-word backup phrase, and your Bitcoin will remain safely in your self-custody. Relay tweeted out, "We tried our best, but if we want to stay in business, this is the only way." And the Rubens company, this happened to him a couple of years ago too.
God damn it. They were a good one.
Yeah.
I missed everything, my connection.
It wasn't like Bitly, it was Bit something. I don't know. I like Ruben. I haven't talked to him in a while.
Yeah, what was it?
I don't know. In the comments, if you remember, there was a European self-custody, direct to self-custody, no KYC, buy-side brokerage.
Yeah, they had something similar happen to them a few years ago. So it seems like the regulatory crackdown continues, particularly as it pertains to KYC, AML information. So BitMEX, Paxful, and Relay have seen the ramifications of this crackdown this week alone.
I will say, like, the KYC-ification of the world has been quite successful. And it's been quietly successful. Like, most people are just not paying attention. It's just been incredibly normalized. I mean, to the point where, like, even social media, people just KYC social media. Don't even think it's not just Bitcoin.
You know, people haven't tried to create a Twitter account in many years, right? Like, try to create a new Twitter account now. It's pretty brutal. Matt, I shared with you that screen for wire transfers, that they are changing the system. And, like, there is this, like, it's hard to convey. Like, there's like 4 pages of shit to do now coming eventually. They haven't started enforcing it, but it's in the UI of, like, the most absurd fucking questions to make a wire of, like, you know, who knows if the value, whatever.
Like, what is the recipient? What type? Underwear size? You know, mother's maiden name.
Has he ever said anything bad about the government? Is this in Canada specifically?
What's his Twitter account?
No, this all this shit is getting upgraded worldwide. These things are never, like, country specific. Like, most wire stuff is, like, you know, like it's the Davos class that decides what the plebes are going to have to do to transfer money, because they get a pass, right?
Yeah. Are you free?
On this topic, Marty, I didn't know, like, I guess I should have just linked to your Nostra post. But so what's the deal with the CFTC thing? You told us, like, call our congressman. I just, full disclosure, not calling my congressman.
Shame on you.
Did you call yours yet?
Yeah, I did. I said, hey, don't let this happen.
You send her a
voicemail,
strongly worded letter. A strong worded letter always fixes everything.
Hey, if you don't do this, there's going to be ramifications. I'm not going to vote for you next time.
I would like to talk to your manager.
I have a friend who works for government, and he always says, I'm going to send a strong worded letter. And he does. Like, they're funny. Yeah,
so this was reported in the Block and I believe CoinDesk yesterday, and I read their reports, and they mentioned that. So for more context, the Senate Committee on Agriculture had a committee hearing yesterday in which the CFTC chairman spoke, and the whole conversation revolved around the regulation of digital commodities. in the block and CoinDesk articles, they mention spot Bitcoin trading, which is outside of the purview of the CFTC, which is the Commodities Futures Trading Commission. So historically, the CFTC has only had oversight over futures markets and derivatives, and that's predominantly what they are mandated to regulate. So seeing the mention, and CoinDesk and the block didn't really do a good job of covering this. They just mentioned spot Bitcoin trading. And then I went and actually watched the hearing on 1.5 speed. It was about an hour and 45 minutes. And essentially what's happening is you have a bipartisan effort being led by this Senate Committee on Agriculture and I believe Forestry that is got together and was asking the CFTC chairman whether or not he believes that the CFTC should have domain over spot Bitcoin trading. And of course, being a government hired regulator, he said, yes, we would like to. And they went back and forth for, again, an hour and 45 minutes talking about all the reasons why they should do this. And this is particularly alarming here in the United States because, again, the CFTC is mandated to oversee futures contracts and derivatives, which do not involve spot markets. And if the CFTC were to get domain over spot markets, that would mean that anybody handling spot Bitcoin would then have to go register and get licensed by the CFTC to operate. So this would be a massive overreach and extension of the CFTC's current mandate. And from what I can tell, it seems like this is a product of the crypto lobby being really pissed off about the SEC hassling them for selling unregistered securities. And they're essentially going to the politicians and saying, hey, label everything a commodity. We will listen to the CFTC and have them regulate us. And it's essentially throwing the Bitcoin baby out with the bathwater, because if this passes, it would not be good for the industry in the United States. And so I do think it's a pressing issue. It seems like this is a reaction from the Democrats specifically, trying to basically react to Trump embracing Bitcoin. And they're going to try and posture and position like, hey, we're doing something. We're going to bring regulatory clarity by labeling everything a commodity and giving the CFTC domain over these markets. And it would just be a complete clusterfuck if that actually happens. And so I believe they're going to try and rush something through between now and the election. The hearing that happened yesterday is typically the first step towards something like this getting written into law. And so I would expect in the next week or two a bill to hit the floor with some debate, and then there will be some revisions, and then a final bill, a vote, and hopefully not. But if the bill gets enough votes, could be written into law. And I think the best course of action, particularly as it stands today, July 11th, 2024, is we should not pass anything between now and the election, have the election, and then have deeper conversations about this. It seems like it's very rushed, and it would not be good for the industry at all. It would be akin to if the CFTC had this domain over the other markets that they currently regulate. It would be like forcing grocery stores to get licensed with the CFTC if they're selling soybeans or corn or milk, whatever it may be.
Or like tractors.
Yeah. Well, not tractors, commodities.
Well,
that's like the other thing too.
Tractor businesses process corn.
Yeah. And I think this is something we've talked about throughout the years, but I think again I think Bitcoiners historically, and I'll put my hand up, maybe I've been guilty of it sometimes in the past too. I think they viewed Bitcoin being labeled as a commodity as a good thing, juxtaposed with crypto, which historically has been labeled securities, and like, oh no, we're a commodity, like we can do whatever. But I think in the long term, it's not the best strategy. We should embrace the fact that Bitcoin is money. It should be treated like money. And if you basically invite the wolves into the hen house, you're going to get your head ripped off. And so,
just from an accounting perspective, you really want Bitcoin to be like considered money, like cash, and then you just do foreign exchange for taxes and accounting purposes, but like the idea of like some businesses have to use Bitcoin as inventory, and like the accounting fucking burden on that is insane. Like the
Lost him.
I mean, my inner beauty on's ringing right now, and he would say that Bitcoin's not money or a commodity.
It's speech.
It's simply code, and code is speech. I don't think it really matters. Like I think it was a bad look. Bitcoiners like trying to pitch the SEC to kill crypto. It's crypto's just worse money. Like it just can't compete. It sucks short term for speculators that don't stay humble and stack sats and speculating on that shit and gambling on that shit. But I don't think shitcoins are a real threat to Bitcoin, and appealing to the SEC is just a bad look that has aged horribly. That said, none of this, like, it doesn't matter how we frame things. The powers that be will no matter where we're at, will take wherever we're at, and they will use it against us in however they can. That is their.
That's why framing is important, because like this happened with ESG too.
Marty's going to tell you to call your congressman. I will tell you, freaks, we're going to win. You don't have to call your congressman. You don't have to do anything. We're going to win.
No, I mean, from the context of 1031, like if this got passed, it would be terrible for all the portfolio companies that would need to then go register with the CFTC. So no, I think we should take this more seriously than that. And I think framing is important. I talked about this with Parker on TFTC a couple months ago. I mean, we saw this with ESG in the mining industry, where 4 or 5 years ago, everybody's like, no, Bitcoin is ESG. And it's like, no, don't fall into that frame. People were telling politicians and regulators that Bitcoin mining was going to transition to 100% renewable energy over time. That's simply not true. And similarly,
it's a different argument.
And similarly, it's not. Similarly, with people saying, "No, Bitcoin doesn't compete with the dollar. It's not money. It's a commodity." At some point, Bitcoin is obviously going to be competing directly with the dollar, and the politicians are going to look at you and say, "Oh, you just told us it was a commodity. It's not competing with the dollar." And you're going to be like, hands up, like, "Oh, sorry." Like, I know it's just better to own it and be like, "No, Bitcoin's money. It's not a bad thing. The dollar should have competition." And if the government plays their cards right and makes wise decisions, like
that's two different things. Like I have steadfastly said that Bitcoin is money, and I think it's the best money that the world has ever seen, and I think it'll win in an open marketplace. And I think there's an argument that is a ethically sound, morally just, very straightforward, non-bullshitty way of speaking about it. But regardless if Bitcoin is treated as money, commodity, security, they will figure out ways to fuck with us. Like, that is what they do. There will be bad regulations regardless.
I agree, but let's not give them more ammo than they need.
I don't think we are. Like, they have to
having large bags. Politicians don't fuck with their own bags. You just gotta get them to have big Bitcoin bags like they do with stocks. They don't fuck with stocks. They don't fuck with the market, right?
I mean, Nancy picks the best stocks.
Right? And I mean, and they don't pass any law that could mess with her shit. So like, all you need is to get politicians to be big bag holders, and that's it. Like, there is no alternative.
Yeah.
So Trump is going to save us.
Is he?
Who?
Never thought I'd hear that coming from you.
Well, it was a question mark exclamation point. By the way, I was wrong. I will own that. I was wrong. The headline last week should have been question mark exclamation point, not exclamation point question mark.
Thank you.
And the that mistake is going to be used against us by regulators.
Look at these illiterates. They can't. These illiterates can't bring in new money. They can't even end a sentence correctly.
I mean, it would be great if they think we're idiots. I mean, seriously, like, there's nothing better than people just think you're an idiot.
Yeah. Some would say it's a good strategy.
I mean, Bitcoin Twitter did a great job.
I mean, you mentioned it. That was the other big news of this week, is the fact that President Trump will be speaking at the Bitcoin 2024 conference in Nashville in a week and a half, or 2 weeks from today. I don't know if he'll be speaking on the 25th or whenever, but he'll be there. Is this big
Is
news?
that legit confirmed?
He's not going to speak on the 25th because that's industry day, and they don't want to compete with Rabbit Hole Recap anyway.
That would be. Rumor has it. Go to pubkey.bar/RHR. Get your tickets to the live Rabbit Hole Recap PubKey Hot Style Takeover. Trump. Hey,
it's gonna be the best party. I mean, if I could make it, I'd be there 100%. Like, I am so fucking jealous of this party happening. Like,
yeah, Trump's gonna be there. He's coming on stage with us. Maybe now we need to get a Trump impersonator. That would be funny.
That would
Thomas,
be amazing.
If you're listening. Yeah.
Even better would be if you could get out an Obama impersonator.
Yeah. But in all seriousness, I mean, we've talked about it over the last month a bit. Like, this is a pretty big signal. Like, he's coming in a few months leading up to the election to speak to a particular demographic of voters, which is the Bitcoin vote. That's a pretty big signal.
I mean,
why are people so grumpy about like politicians sort of completely like begging Bitcoiners for their vote? Like, it's a great thing. Who cares about who it is and what they do, and fuck them all? But like, it's a great thing. It's weird.
Like, net, we'd rather all the politicians want to vote.
Yeah, like, I mean, that's the plan. Like, that's the plan working, is them begging for you to like them.
Well, Marty, I have 2 axes to grind with you.
Okay.
I have 3 axes to grind with
you. 3? Really?
Well, Logan pulled up your tweet. So you just copy and paste on Nostr. You're just a Nostr copy paster? Because I read it on Nostr, but it was the same post.
Do you want me to write 500 words twice?
I mean, just post it to Nostr first. Like, give us like 15-minute head start and then copy and paste it to Twitter. Don't do the reverse.
Axe 1 down.
Okay. Second of all, call my congressman. Like, are you fucking kidding me? The third one was you started it off with, you kind of were shitting on Trump speaking at the conference. Like, you just don't think
I wasn't shitting on it. I said, don't get too pumped. I said, there's a reason to be pumped, but hey, don't get distracted.
It's pretty crazy. I think.
I agree. I'll agree with the final acts. I could have worded it better.
2 years ago, we were excited about the president of a random Latin American country of 6 million people talking about Bitcoin. That was Calle. Last year, we were excited about RFK, who's never going to fucking win the election, talking about Bitcoin. And this year, former president and the front runner to be the president of the United fucking States is coming to the Bitcoin conference to talk about Bitcoin. That's a crazy 3-year growth cycle.
It's an upgrade. Yeah, I mean, shit is working. Like, we're winning. That's what winning looks like.
Yeah.
I agree. I could have worded the tweet better. Hand up. That's on me. But it was a great hook.
You worded the tweet better and then copy and paste it. That's the problem. First act.
It was a great hook. It was a great hook.
It was a hook. I like my favorite comment on Nostr was like, halfway through your 8 paragraphs, you're like, long story short. And someone in the comments was like, you don't know what long story short means.
True. I highly, speaking of that CFTC hearing, go watch the whole thing. But back to Trump, I think it's pretty big. And again, I think the CFTC hearing yesterday was an opportunistic ploy by the Democrats looking to make a political maneuver to react to Trump basically embracing Bitcoin.
Well, no, didn't they have like, they also had like a crypto roundtable or something that was just like all shitcoiners? Was that like 2 days ago or something like that?
Yeah, Rokana, same day yesterday, had a bunch of people basically to convince the industry, I believe, is what I heard. They were trying to convince the industry that they weren't going to be too overbearing, which the record does not prove that anybody should have any confidence in that trope.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to take the moment. I know he's an incredibly controversial figure, and I will probably get shit on for this, but like at this point, like I just don't really give a shit. Whether you love or hate the Trump news, 95% of the credit for all of this shit, like the RNC adding it to their secondary policy initiatives, Trump speaking at the conference, Trump saying he likes the coin and likes self-custody, like the RNC has it in their policy shit that they are pro-Bitcoin self-custody and using Bitcoin without government surveillance and control. 95% of that was David Bailey. So if you hate it, you should give him shit. If you love it, you should give him credit. But like that dude is just in his moment. It's in his moment. It's in his wheelhouse. He made it fucking happen. Like that was all.
He's crushing it. I mean, we don't get political here. I fucking love Trump. I think he's hilarious. I think, given the two options, it is obvious that we need Donald Trump over Joe Biden.
I mean, listen, it could be worse, guys. You guys could have Trudeau. Can you imagine? Like, I mean, like you may not like Orange Man, but like, it could be worse, right?
Look, Trump can go fuck himself. Trump can go fuck himself, but our current president is just like literally politically persecuting my friends.
What president? You guys don't have a president right now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a weekend of Bernie.
I mean, you can go back to a TFTC interview I recorded in March of last year, I believe, where we went through the Hunter Biden laptop. In 2018, Hunter Biden admitted that his dad had dementia, like via text. Like if you went and actually read.
Here's something that is weird, okay? How come Hunter's laptop didn't have any Bitcoin?
No, he had Sparrow Wallet installed.
There you go. They found a cold card in his pocket. In his prison pocket.
Yeah. Did he really have Sparrow Wallet, or are you just fucking around?
No, I'm just fucking. I'm sorry, Marty. You have two people that talk over you on the show today.
So yeah, Trump will be in Nashville.
And he's going to be at the live RHR. So pubkey.bar/RHR. There's a few tickets left. It's only $50. We made it very accessible. You don't need a conference ticket. It's going to be fucking lit. It's going to be like 8 hours.
Hey, listen, I'll make a better pitch.
NVK won't be there, so it'll actually be enjoyable.
Exactly. And also, here's the thing. If you guys go and support the event, Matt and Marty don't have to get sponsorship from, like Celsius. I heard they're coming back.
Oh, that's actually a good topic. Did you hear what's going on there with their bankruptcy?
No, I don't follow that.
They're suing. Celsius is suing users that took Bitcoin and other crypto off the exchange in the month.
They all deserve each other.
They're expecting all these users.
It's clawback shit, right?
Yeah, but they're
a lot of Bitcoiners were there.
They always try.
Well, they levied like a lawsuit against thousands of users who pulled their stuff off the exchange, and they're saying we need that back so we can distribute it amongst the creditors in our bankruptcy case, which is insane.
No, they always try that. They're not going to get it. It's just bankruptcy lawyers being opportunistic.
I mean, that's egregious. I didn't know that was a common practice. It's insane.
Yeah, it's relatively common. I people shouldn't take too much. I mean, if you're a Celsius customer that got hit with one of those lawsuits, like you should consult a lawyer. We're not lawyers, but
throw it up, Logan.
It is very common, and they don't have much credence.
Yeah. All right, we're on to the HRF story of the week this week, which comes from Nigeria. There's a new VAT tax, a new value-added tax on digital asset transaction fees. So KuCoin, a major cryptocurrency exchange in Nigeria, introduced a 7.5% value-added tax on user transaction fees, despite Nigerian authorities having already banned the KuCoin website, though officials have made no official announcement, according to the HRF's contacts in Nigeria. This could reflect new incoming regulations from the Nigerian regime. The tax imposed on third parties relating to transaction fees would increase overall end-user transaction costs and discourage the use of digital assets like Bitcoin. In a country where a significant portion of the population lacks financial services, inflation runs unchecked, and a CBDC is in the streets, Bitcoin is an escape for many Nigerians. Now authorities are making it more expensive to turn to digital, open source, and censorship-resistant money. This was the story of the week this week in the Financial Freedom Report. Go to financialfreedomreport.org and sign up for the newsletter so we can get delivered directly to your inbox. And not surprising, coming from the Nigerian government and KuCoin.
So I thought this was kind of interesting because a lot of people talk about like Bitcoin 6102, right? So 6102, Executive Order 6102 was when the U.S. government in the 30s under FDR seized anyone's gold who complied with it. Or any
one
gold.
guy. It was one person. Literally one person.
But was it literally one? Do you have a website
Yeah,
for
I
that?
think it was like 25 to 30% of people
Okay,
turned
but
it in.
anyway, the realistic 6102 is you just keep adding taxes that are Bitcoin specific. Or unrealized cap gains that is Bitcoin specific because it's actually liquid and you can levy unrealized capital gains in a non-completely destructive manner. Like that's how the real 61.2 is going to look. And I think Nigeria is leading the way on this. So I thought it was
I mean, Nigeria has been leading the way in bad decisions as a government for a very long time. They're an example of a bad government.
As Marty would say, credit where credit's due.
They've been crushing it in terms of
Crushing it. You know, I just being optimistic here, like taking Nigeria as an example is not exactly like comparable.
It's the most populous country in Africa.
Well, look at it now. Did you see what happened over in Europe this week with the French elections and the UK elections? It seems like the commies won out over there.
None of them said any good things about Bitcoin.
No, I mean in France, the party that got into power wants to tax people 90%. Like,
yeah, how's that going to work out? It's going to be like definitely a lot of productive people left in that country, right?
Yeah, I think it's to be
This is a
accurate.
sovereign individual thesis, right?
It's going to be a 90% income tax on anybody that makes more than $400,000 or euros. Excuse me.
I meant like 9 out of 10 days. 9 out of 10 days they take your wages.
Hey, that's too little. I think it's not enough. I think we should just go for 100. Just call it a slave. Just call it a slave.
Rip the Band-Aid off with free healthcare. It's free.
That's right. It's free. Yes, free healthcare, and you're a slave.
Fucking
but
insane.
Don't talk too loud, motherfucker.
Oh, they get so mad when I'm in restaurants over there. Oh, they get so mad
because you're screaming the profanities in the restaurant. Yeah, I'd get mad too. You can't be cursing in restaurants.
Us Americans, we're just loud people.
Loud and fat.
It's like not specific. Like I'm not. I think I'm quiet for Americans, but just not by European standards.
Yeah. Before we get to the software update section of the podcast, we have to read the top 4 boost from last week's episode. Why is the Bitcoin price crashing? RHR 312.
One of our best titles.
At
motherfucker.
At BTC NIM boosted 50,005 sats palindrome boost. Marty, don't think for 1 second I missed my shout out a few episodes back about my 2022 baseline boost prediction of 50,000 sats. 50,000 is the standard if you expect an on-air boost reading. In an old Ringo Starr / Howard Stern reference, with peace and love, you can go fuck yourself with any boost under 50,000 sats for on-air reading. Anything less will be trashed. Shout out to the king of boost, Eric99.
That was who sent that boost?
BTC NIM.
Thank you, BTC NIM. One of the best boosts of all time.
Thank you. And here we go, following him up at Eric99, boost to 50,000 sats. Stay humble, stack sats.
Great advice.
And I hate to burst your bubble, BTC NIM, but the rule is we have to read the top 4 boosts. And this week, not all 4 boosts are over 50,000 sats. At 8 Myth Randir boosted 7,777 sats. 7s across the board. Palindrome boost. TDev released on bail. Hashtag free samurai. Hashtag free samurai.
You know, 8 Myth Randir sends Bitcoin Review a boost like every single episode.
Yeah, no, he's legit. He's a ride or die. Same with this match.
Shout out to you, 8 Myth Randir. Last but not least, at Second Breakfast boosted 5,000 sats. Don't be a dickhead. Great advice. It's true.
He
don't be a
got
dickhead.
in with 5,000 sats. Did he say don't be a dickhead? Did he say great advice? Or did
great advice. Yeah, don't be a dickhead.
Did he say it or did you say it?
He said it.
Oh, nice. Great advice. We also have Paulie in the Noster chat gave 63,000 sats saying Stambles, tax sats, then mandibles. Let's fucking go. Cold card Q is awesome. And average Gary with 21,000 sats saying, don't go to this conference with devices you care about. With Orange Man, there will be increased surveillance. Be smart. At a minimum, turn off Wi-Fi and only connect to ones you absolutely know and trust. Yeah, I mean, don't bring important devices to conferences. Also, both of those Noster live chat zaps were in all caps.
I want to apologize to my crew there. I always participate in the Zap.stream, but right now my Wi-Fi is not permitting me to have two website pages at the same time. What?
You're in the show. It's a step above.
No, I am just a hackler, an upgraded hackler.
Yeah, you get to heckle over audio instead of written content.
That's right.
All right. Software updates. Nunchuck Mobile version 1.9.47 and desktop version 1.9.35 have been released with assisted multi-sig keys. Let me read. This is a big update. You guys covered it on Bitcoin.review. What should we know about? I love what Hugo's
doing. No, I mean, like, he's just like, plowing through it, adding features. Like they reuse a lot of code, a lot of core code on the app, so like it's not like a bunch of like JavaScript, and it's pretty awesome. I just love what they're doing.
What about this particular update? It was interesting.
I can't remember. Dude, we read updates there for like 2.5 to 3 hours.
What update is this? Nunchuck.
The last one. Do you have the release notes?
They're replacing assisted multi-sig keys, which I don't even know what that is. What's an assisted multi-sig key?
And presumably it's like their inheritance thing.
Yeah, I think they can rotate by adding, you got to rotate the funds, but like they can add new keys. I can't remember.
Nice. All right, next up on the list, we've got Blockstream Greenlight version 0.2 has been released with new credentials API enhancements and improvements. Shout out to the Greenlight project, very important for the Lightning Network. RoboSats version 0.6.3 alpha has been released with new coordinators. You can add new coordinators manually. Fully noted version 1.1.1 has been released with, you'll be happy to hear, NVK BBQr and the updated UR support.
Barbecue QR is eating the world.
How many wallets have implemented this now?
I don't know. Like it's on barbecueqr.org. It might be like 5, 6, 7. I don't know. The ones that matter.
Why is switching QR standards controversial? Is it controversial?
Because I think it's because people don't understand QR codes, and then they make bad standards, and then we have to fix them, and then eventually people get around to it. It's and for anybody who writes software knows this. Like standards are always controversial in software, Bitcoin or not Bitcoin. It's just we're all nerds. We all have our preferences on stacks, and that's how it works. Yeah. I'm just feeling Go and naive.
I like it. I mean, I've been shilling it on the show, but the Q scanner, that's been my go-to way to sign PSBTs via Sparrow.
Really? You transfer it via QR code?
Yeah, it works wonderfully.
He was doing I forgot his name now. A guy who does fully noded. Yeah, no, fully noded. He was doing a 15 out of 15 multi-sig just to prove a point with barbecue QR.
Yeah, that's annoying. It's too big, right?
No, it fits. You'll go through. It's just a pain. But like
it's inputs outputs that really fuck up the QR code, right?
Yes.
It's super big.
Well, no. The signature it gets bigger. If there is more signers, it's a bigger signature.
That makes sense.
If there's more signers, but also inputs outputs, right?
Yes. Oh no, the inputs outputs are the worst part, but everything compounds.
Because I'm an SD card maxi. I like the QR code reader for confirming the receive address.
Yep.
It's like way easier than going to Address Explorer and manually going to like address number 57 or whatever.
Micro SDs are amazing, man.
But I mostly use the SD card for actually signing PSBTs and setting up the wallet in the beginning or whatnot.
That UX is too involved for me. I prefer the QR.
Now with the NFC push,
these are nice with the mobile wallet.
Yeah,
it's like the QR code really comes in handy with the mobile wallets.
Yep.
And then you have a really nice, like you can use the back camera of like a brand new phone. So it's super high quality.
if I'm using the queue with the phone, it's all NFC. It's just I find it so much easier to just tap.
Like it's weird having like your face in the webcam of the PSBT. Like you're like trying to sign your cold storage and you're like taking a selfie at the same time. It's just like awkward. But if you do it on mobile, then it's like you just aim your phone at the.
I mean, computer cameras are fucking horrible, dude. Like even Apple, they're really low quality, and it's not like the fault of all the hardware wallets, even the ones that have bad QR standards. It's not their fault. It's just that the computers have bad cameras. They're not designed to read QRs.
The more you know. The more you know. Get a good camera. Phones are designed to read QR.
Yes.
That's all we have for the list. I have some macro talk. If you want to talk macro talk.
Yeah, we just need a wrap within 40.
How big? How big is the macro?
It's pretty big. Logan, pull up the unfunded liabilities.
Check the list, because sometimes he pretends the list is done. Oh, the list is.
I have no idea.
We should talk about mutiny too. We'll talk about that after this. But
no! Before this,
okay.
The 2 Fedimints that were having issues, the hotfix has been released. So those issues should be gone, and hopefully the Fedimint open source protocol within like the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, will have a fix that doesn't have this dependency on DNS. In terms, if a specific domain gets blacklisted, Fedimint guardians can easily transition. So if you've had your money stuck in one of the 2 major Fedimints, they both have like a Bitcoin in them, but it's Freedom 1 and Bitcoin Principles. That has been resolved. We talked about it about 2 weeks ago. So pretty quick from start to finish. No funds were lost, is my understanding. Great to see. Just shout out to the Fedimint open source protocol team. Thanks for being real ones.
Yeah. Crisis somewhat averted. Because it was not looking great 2 weeks ago.
Completely averted. Crisis completely averted. There is no crisis.
I mean,
dependence on DNS is just.
We are on an aircraft carrier. It says mission accomplished behind me. We did it.
We're safe now.
Logan, that's a new thing to flash on the screen as mission accomplished. Note that.
It's American flag.
Yeah, so for those of you who did not listen 2 weeks ago, as Matt and MVK alluded to, there was a DNS dependency where if the Fedimint, the Fedimint overall had their DNS record blacklisted by one of the DNS providers.
XYZ domain registrar, the domain, the TLD, the GTLD organization behind. Oh, there you go. That's great.
So good.
All these new domains, man, is a mess. It's a fucking mess. All this, it's the GTLDs.
The quick reminder is there were the 2 public Fedimints that you could connect to. In Mutiny, for instance, you can just choose your Fedimint. Like it doesn't have a default Fedimint provider, and it was a Nostr rated system. The two main public ones, Bitcoin Principles and Freedom 1, each had 4 guardians. So it was a 3 of 4 multisig. And each of those guardians have a domain, right? They have a website that is used for the guardians to communicate with each other. The users don't actually go to them, but it's used for the guardians to communicate with each other. And both of them had one that was a .xyz domain, and both of them, their .xyz domain got banned through a spam list. And as a result, it was not connectable. And the way Fedimint was set up at that point, you couldn't rotate. You couldn't easily rotate that banned domain. So they both turned into 3 of 3s. And if you had any kind of connectivity issues, you couldn't move your funds. So now those 2.xyz guardians have been able to move to .coms, and they're not having those issues now. But ideally in the future, like you should be able to just, at the very least, if you're still going to rely on DNS, and the reason they do it is because they like TLS. So they use the encryption authentication standard, TLS. is you need to be able to rotate them. Like you have to be able to rotate them if you get on a ban list. And fortunately, like this was .xyz doing this. Like if .com did this, like they'd have just fucking taken down every Guardian, just out of like hit up like 7 people and just taken out every Guardian.
Yeah.
DNS is a shitcoin.
Massive shitcoin.
That's why
shitcoin. Now NomadNet on Reticulum network. I'm not gonna get into it. Anyways,
well,
give us the
Okay,
Reticulum show because you were giving it to me privately.
sure. So it's not a super scalable network, but is a network that's essentially it's not based on TCP/IP. It's DNS less, and it's a mesh net style network that somebody invented out there. It's called RNS, Reticulum Network something. Just go reticulum.network. And what's cool is that the people who invented this are sort of like amateur radio people. So it's all pre-set up for you to this like low to extreme availability nodes and peers, and still relay information. Very cool, very, very, very neat network. So go play with it.
So where does this fall? Like, how does this interact with something like Nostr? Like, is it complementary to Nostr?
No, no, it's very so. Nostr is still kind of like a TCP/IP sort of mindset. So and Nostr is very wasteful with bandwidth because it does other things, right? It's a different set of trade-offs. They don't quite interrupt, but they are very good ways of think about Reticulum as more like a shit hits the fan, world is ending kind of network.
So this is what I was going to ask you next. So you famously described Nostr as I'm watching the sci-fi movie and a planet gets attacked. And it's like the aliens are attacking. It's like, how do they communicate that the aliens? They just like press send on their wrist computer thing, and like the video goes to like far off planets. It's like, oh, the aliens are attacking. And you're like, this is Nostr. Like they've been explaining Nostr, and it didn't even exist. Does Reticulum compete with Nostr for that use case?
Oh, it does much better work at that use case than Nostr. No comparison.
Okay, glad we got that sorted.
Yeah, so I think
that movie, I'll know.
I upgraded my framework for thinking about this. I feel like Nostr is more within the non-space regions, and Reticulum goes into the non space regions. You know, when you're really exploring out there, Nostr is really shining to be a public square, public network,
public broadcasting service.
Exactly. It's not very good at private things or things that may need to be re-relayed without you knowing the possible hops and peers.
Yeah. So by the way, freaks, I know NVK has, he's not English. English was his second language. It's reticulum.network. So it's RETICULUM.network.
It's a fucking terrible name.
It's a really bad name.
But there is a cool GUI app for it, so it's not.
I always thought Nostr was a bad name. Nostr's an amazing fucking name.
It is. It could be so much worse. Man, when you think something is bad, it could be worse.
Well, I think Nostr's good because you go back to the Latin, Nostr means ours. So
that was an accident.
Yeah, total accident. Yeah. No, Nostr is fantastic. It's just we need more things, right? Like no single solution is going to fix all the problems, right? It's not like money where you want just one, the Gresham's law kind of style thing, right? For networks, you want big networks, but you need different ones with different trade-offs for different things.
It's important to understand.
Marty,
the aliens are coming. We want Reticulum.
Continue.
If you want to connect with the aliens or let people know you're being attacked by aliens, Reticulum over Nostr. I think that's what we got out of that section.
Yeah, with blockchain. I think if we add blockchain and AI to it, I think we probably solved all of the world's problems.
Dude, because of Bolt 12, you joke, but because of Bolt 12, I have a Bolt 12 on a NomadNet Micron page that is extremely resilient out there. so people could send me money without
You
having
can
to talk
post
to
it
me.
on
That is
Nostr.
super fucking cool.
You can
What?
post it on Nostr.
Yes,
You're
I
on the cutting
posted
edge of all this stuff. I mean, I remember who was it? You, Adam Curry, and Sam, whatever his last name is, Peterson. You guys did the ham radio private key exchange.
Dude, he was selling point of sale units in like 2012.
Way too early.
People
Too early.
still don't spend Bitcoin.
people still suck at Bitcoin since then. It was
Well,
better then.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't remember what I was going to say, but we should move to macro. But I was going to say something before we move to macro.
About Bolt 12.
Nah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Macro. I mean, I wrote about this earlier this week, and
Sorry, Marty.
You know what? Well, actually, why don't we take another tangent to Bolt 12?
So-
Cashew is working on a similar invoice type.
What on Bolt 12? Similar to Bolt 12?
I don't know if it's Bolt 12, but Calle was talking about doing some similar invoice where you don't have to coordinate to generate a new payment.
I think all Zaps will move to Cashew, eCash, like whether that's Cashew, Fedimint, like it'll just move to that. Because then you can do it in a relatively native way. And then you can always settle back on chain eventually when you want to. But Ben in the comments was mentioning something about eCash stuck in Freedom 1. And that's what I was going to mention. So he's talking about Fedimints again. He said he has a transaction still pending. So there is a edge issue for Fedimint users. We're not fully mission accomplished. Logan, can we get it on the screen? We're not fully mission accomplished. If you made a transaction during a certain period, you need to initiate a rescan of your wallet. Mission accomplished. Doesn't exist in the UI yet. It will exist in the UI in the future. So just take a deep breath.
You'll be able to get your money one day. Don't worry. You'll be able to get it. Mission accomplished.
Pour a glass of mezcal. Whisper to yourself, stay humble, sack sats, and just like wait like 2.5 weeks, and it'll be in the UI, and then you can press rescan.
Don't worry, because it's Cashew, somebody can rug it as a service and give it back to you.
Yeah, it's a feature, not a bug.
Hey, we've learned time and time again throughout Bitcoin's history that forced hodls are typically a good thing. So you got a forced hodl on your hand, embrace it.
Yeah.
Well, we thank you for your service, because without the people doing reckless, stupid shit with new technology, we don't get anywhere.
Yeah. So thank you.
We got to push the limits.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
And before going to macro, while you guys brought up Calle, that's something I threw in at the end of the list as well. Did you guys see that proposal to intercept HTLCs en route and do an atomic swap between a mint and the channel if it becomes apparent that there's not going to be enough liquidity on the route to finish the payment?
No.
Yeah, I saw the tweet, but I don't understand Lightning that well to have an opinion.
Also, you skipped a story on the list. I just realized.
Which one?
We started education grants at OpenSats.
Oh yeah,
well, that's wrong.
I forgot two. Then you started them, and then Nakamoto Institute received the first one.
Yeah, and me, Premier Bitcoin, very excited about it, and Summer of Bitcoin.
All right.
And I just want to say thank you to Bruce for advertising OpenSats all week.
Has he been also shitting on OpenSats?
No, he's just been advertising OpenSats all week.
Bruce, I think we're friends. I think there's a level of mutual respect here. I wouldn't have to spend so much time working on OpenSats if you didn't fuck up the Bitcoin Foundation the first time around. Like, you made that shit. You destroyed that whole fucking organization. So
no, it wasn't. Bruce didn't do anything wrong there.
Thank you. I mean, he kind of did. He kind of like reigned over the absolute destruction of that organization.
I don't think there was a lot of rain in there, but anyways, OpenSats is great. Apply for grants. We are the unpaid slaves who review your applications and get shit for approving them and also for denying them. It doesn't matter, we don't win, so just please send your applications.
It sounds like an incredible time, honestly.
The important thing with OpenSats is to realize if you like OpenSats, you're welcome. And if you don't like OpenSats, it's MVK's fault.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm getting confirmation here in the Zap.stream comments back to the Calle thing. So this is essentially a way to improve routing on the fly. Like, so instead of having a payment fail, you're able to pause the HTLC in flight, and then you can do an atomic swap between a mint that both channel partners are in, and he's essentially just push the liquidity from one end of the channel to the other so that the payment succeeds.
This is the problem that Lightning has. Every term around everything in Lightning sounds like you're bullshitting me.
What?
You know what I mean? Like, it's got
Channel
that
partner,
shitcoiner vibe.
liquidity.
It's like in flight, atomic swap, blah blah blah. It sounds like full of shit. I know it's all real, and Calle is serious, but it all sounds like total bullshit.
Did anyone lose any money on this one?
I don't think it's been implemented yet. If you go into the comments of the original thread, Christian Decker.
Wait, I thought it was a vulnerability.
No, it's not a vulnerability.
No, it's a feature.
No,
yeah, and it's an example of like complementary protocols on top of Bitcoin. Like Lightning makes eCash better because you have this Lightning gateway that allows you to send Bitcoin from one mint to the other, and then conversely, eCash mints in this instance could help improve channel liquidity issues on the fly and user experience overall, which is pretty cool to see. I thought it was interesting. I wanted to bring it up.
And there was issues with that. Is the proposal, or
actually, Christian Decker said that C Lightning actually built a plugin for this use case already, so it's not.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, dope.
Yeah.
Okay, let's fucking go.
And thanks,
Bruce, for shipping OpenSats.
Macro talk. Like I was saying earlier, I wrote this newsletter earlier this week, and it got some good reception, particularly from the TradFi crew. But I think the elephant in the room, as it pertains to the massive liability situation that the United States government and all Western governments face, is unfunded liabilities. Typically, when we talk about the national debt here in the United States, we focus on the almost $35 trillion. But if you dive into the numbers, the unfunded liabilities are the bigger problem. It's 217 trillion, which is 6.2 times larger than the national debt. So this is Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. If we wanted to pay that all off and fill that gap that exists in unfunded liabilities, every American citizen would have to pay something like $643,000 just to pay it off. In the EU, $643,000 just to pay off the unfunded liabilities.
Holy shit!
And this is when
that's
Americans. That's when most Americans can't even.
It's infinite money. Why do people even use numbers anymore?
I mean, this is a big problem. I mean, this is like Social Security specifically,
Mark,
the third rail that politicians can't touch.
Did you see my response to this on Nostr?
No.
Yes.
Mandibles and Bitcoin standard? Is that what you said?
No, it was just all underscores mandibles and Bitcoin standard. Like I didn't write the words, but you knew exactly what I was saying.
Yes.
You should just read. If you just read the book,
it's not only here in America too. If you scroll up, Logan, like in the EU, most countries, their unfunded liability problem is something like 300 to 500%.
They experience it first. We have the privilege of experiencing it last.
This is gonna end like one of three ways. You default on it. You say, "Hey, we're not paying it." You print the money, or you have a conversation.
Yeah. Dude, reactions.
Does it?
Yeah. They.
Oh no! I want my reactions.
Or we have a conversation where it's like millennials. I think it's pretty much a foregone conclusion that we all agree if we're paying somewhat attention, we don't expect to get Social Security. So let's just have the conversation. Like we're not like let us know that we're not going to get it. We know we're not going to get it, but let's make it clear. Millennials, Gen Z, you're not getting your Social Security, so that people can begin planning while they have 30 to 40 years to work and build up some form of savings.
As long as you have video games, porn, pizza. Okay, like nothing happens. People stay in their basements and like they don't have, they're not gonna go to war because they're shooting people in the video game, and then they go watch the porn, and then they have more pizza, and they just repeat the cycle. You're not gonna have like a revolution.
Marty, you didn't. You gave me shit for that. This is not a black pill. This is the white pill.
I'm not blackpilling. I'm just
No,
highlighting.
I know, but you gave me shit for this. This is mandibles and Bitcoin standard. Like the hope part is that you know it's going to happen, so you get your shit done, get your affairs in order.
That's why I brought it up.
It's just being realistic. But I mean, you brought it up with numbers, but it's just mandibles than Bitcoin standard.
Those are not numbers. Those numbers don't exist. Like, dude,
why are we even using numbers?
27 trillion, like whatever the fuck it is. It's like
217 trillion.
You know, as my five almost 6-year-old comes to me all the time and says, "Daddy, Googleplex." You know, it's the biggest number that he knows of, that he heard about, and just Googleplex everything. That's it. Who cares?
It is true.
I'm seeing LV99 Slacker in the YouTube comments asking, never heard of eCash. Cake Wallet, a good place to start. Cake Wallet does not have eCash. If you go to CashU, so cash with the letter U .me, you can actually play with a eCash wallet in your browser.
Enuts on the App Store is great.
On iPhone?
Yeah, man, Enuts is like full-on Coinbase experience.
And then Mini Bits on Android, and then cashew.me is on the web app. I saw, you want to talk about numbers not meaning anything. I saw this week, Travis Kelce paid $3 million for the suite of his own Super Bowl. As 60 Bitcoin. He spent 60 Bitcoin to have Taylor Swift and his family watch him at the Super Bowl.
Hey, he's got a billionaire girlfriend. You know, he's got to try and keep up.
That? I mean, Taylor should have paid for it.
By the way, I don't think they actually paid.
Chivalry is not dead.
They're bringing audience.
What?
I don't think they paid for it.
He said they paid for it. I don't think Travis wouldn't lie. He's from Kansas City.
I bet the words were like,
he's
the
from
cost
Ohio,
of is, it's not we paid for.
Okay, live fact check. He's from Ohio.
Yeah. I'm not going to dox myself, but I do have a Kelce story. We'll save it for off air.
Come to the live show, and Marty's going to tell the live show.
Yeah.
pubkey.bar/RHR.
I heard Marty is going to have something related to porn at the live show.
See, I don't like when we joke about this, okay?
No, actually,
we're gonna have a porn burning session at the live show. Okay, we're gonna everybody bring your porn. We're gonna put it on stage. We're gonna light it on fire. Just save your souls.
Honestly, it doesn't have to just be porn. Marty's pro burning books in general. So any kind of
book. That's right.
Marty actually requested that we have Nashville showgirls topless handing out T-shirts.
I did not. This is fake news.
I heard from serious sources that is true.
Serious sources internally asking to be anonymous.
Sources say.
There's only good people.
Sources close to the matter.
That's right.
This has been fun. What else should we talk about? We've got 15 minutes.
Did you see Ivan, like in the Nostra comments, all caps, when you call Marty a porn influencer, he does not like it.
I don't like it.
Yeah. Well, you influence
it's
people.
Gonna come out. It's gonna come out, right? That Marty is like one of the biggest accounts in like OnlyFans or something.
I know. This is what happens with all of them.
Any hackers who want to try and prove that, come get my shit. My Bitcoin's
it always starts with the anti-porn angle, and then it just always comes out.
You can strip search me. Stop watching porn. Hold your seed, freaks.
I never expected it. He was such a good neighbor.
That's right. But he was so nice, and he wore pink polos.
I don't wear pink polos. This is blue.
Dude, pink polos are good.
My skin might be a little pink right now. I'm getting a lot of sun.
Yeah,
hair's getting a little blonder.
It's summer, man. It's summer. Starting to get red.
Do you have anything positive to talk about?
Yeah, life's good.
Oh, I have a question for MVK. So Marty thinks there will be no elections in America this year.
No, I don't think that. I put a 10 to 15% probability on that being
So,
possible.
What do you think?
Like, I generally like, just looking from outside of US, like, it does have that vibe of like either Trump gets popped or like, I don't know, man. It's weird. Like, nobody likes the guy there, right? Neither party. So, because he's, kind of an independent-ish. I don't know, man. In Canada, they're postponing fucking everything all the time. They're passing laws all the time, change elections. At least you guys have a constitution.
Yeah,
and
his percentage is bullshit because he still won't. Will you bet me? I'll give you 10-1 odds. I'll give you your 10%.
No, I don't know.
So you don't
I
actually.
think
I'll bet you 100,000 sats. 100,000 sats. I'm not betting you.
it's a
sats.
non-zero chance. It's a non-zero chance that US doesn't have an election.
10-1. If there's no elections, I pay you 1,000,000 sats. You pay me 100,000 sats.
Yes.
Okay, I agree with that. You agree with that?
Okay. Yes, locked in.
Okay, thank you. Noted. MVK, you're a witness, and all the freaks.
I missed it. I was paying attention to something else.
We have 2,500 freaks that just witnessed it. Marty's going to pay me 100,000 sats. Even if it's a sham election, I still win it's an election. As long as there's an election, I win.
So how do they, like, it's weird, man. Like, when the lefties now are saying that the guy is essentially completely toasted there, the dude in diapers that you guys have there as president, like, it's weird, man. it's weird. Like, it's crossed so many lines.
Dictator. He was like very young. You still have young people over there.
No, because like our system is more broken than yours. By the way, it just looks prettier. But like they don't stand that long here. Like they can't. Like it doesn't work. Government here doesn't pay that well, even with all the robbing of shit.
Did you guys know this is the most important election of our lifetimes? No, but it is. I mean, to your point, MVK, it is like sometimes you see some of these videos coming out, not only of Biden, like his whole administration, the press secretary, like what the fuck is going on? Like how
it's always been
anybody take any of this seriously?
It's always been a circus, right? It's just that the difference now is that we can talk about the circus publicly without getting shot. So like, and that amped up. Like it's weird. Like listen, the tragic. What's the name of that fucking book again? I forgot.
Romeo and Juliet.
No,
he was gonna say
tragic comedy.
Yeah,
no.
Yeah, too.
What's the name of that one? Anyways, I forgot that.
Why don't you just spoil the plot?
I mean, the joke is all the joke is on the people that take this shit seriously. Like
Marty, you don't actually think this is the most important election we've ever had, right?
No, I mean that's every election is the most important election. That's how they fearmonger. Remember, vote or die. Vote or die. It's the most important election ever.
I don't wear pins.
That was that. Who spearheaded that campaign?
Was it Diddy?
It was Diddy. Yeah.
Black Epstein.
That's right. Is he back in America at all, or is he still like hiding away in some island?
He's laying low. That's how it works here. You have all this stuff come out, and you lay low, and you pop up 2 years later.
Clinton, dude? Didn't Clinton go to like Asia or something, like Philippines or something, to hide while they were finding some shit for a little while? Just recently, like a few months ago.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I didn't see that. I mean, that's what the 3 Arrows guys did.
Yeah, he definitely went there.
Kyle for a while was like jungle posting. It's like a crazy moment.
He at one point he pivoted to like a life coach.
Yeah, he was like just jungle poster. He was like, "This is how you carve out a coconut." I will say RHR numbers will increase if we pivot into being an election podcast for like the next 4 months.
You could have one of those tables, like the Young Turks do. Like you sit there, you have like a cool table, and
things.
That is the best. That is the best highlight clip of all time. Is the Young Turks crying like the night of election in 2016, as they began to realize that Trump was becoming president.
The best was I was in New York. I was in New York, and I was getting like the live, like video signal messages of like inside the DN, like Hillary's party or whatever, like in New York.
Freudian slip.
What?
I was at a lefty,
You had the
a
Hillary
lefty
Freudian slip
people
there.
event during that thing, and like it was so weird. They actually thought that Hillary was going to win, like somehow in their minds, and all these people were shocked and sad. It was very pleasant.
It was pretty crazy.
I mean, John Podesta coming out being like, "All right, everybody, go home. We're gonna figure this out in the morning. I'm gonna go eat some pizza."
I mean, New York is so Democrat leading that the commuter train that I took the day after that election, it was like 9/11. I mean, like, and I was quite young for 9/11, but like that's what it felt like. It was just like everyone had like a hangover.
Yeah,
it was the most insane thing I've ever witnessed.
And if you didn't care and you were just sitting there looking to laugh, it was one of the most hilarious.
I was sitting there and I was like, I didn't make enough money gambling. And that's why I'm trying to gamble on this election with you, Marty. Anything, any terms. Like,
didn't we open with stay humble, stack sats, and here we go.
I thought that Marty says that a lot because it's for himself.
I didn't come out of the womb, stay humble, stack sats. Like it was a learned. It's a learned
experience. No, where is it? Learned experience. How do the lefty people call it?
I will say
it's nurture, not nature. It's nature for him to want to gamble, and we have to nurture him to.
Yeah, I give that one hater credit because like a lot of people say like, oh, stay humble, stack sats, like he's a hypocrite because he's not humble at all. Like that's where it came from. Like I don't pretend I'm humble. Like I repeat it over and over again to remind myself to stay humble.
Is it working?
Alternative loses me a lot of money, and heartache. Like that is the result. I don't pretend to be like a humble person. I'm not a humble person. Need to stay humble and stack sats, and so should you.
Pointing in the mirror.
Yeah, it's pointing in the mirror every morning. That's what it is.
For what it's worth, Matthew, I love your personality. I know you have to God damn it! I know you have to nurture the staying humble part, but I love unleash Matt Odell, unabashed.
We're just getting started.
I can't wait. I can't wait till like full on rip roar and bull market Odell comes back.
Yeah, bull market Odell. But imagine bull market Odell when he's like in his 60s kind of thing. That's gonna be glorious. Like boomer Odell style. Oh,
I hope we're not having these types of cycles in our 60s.
Oh, it's gonna be forever.
Oh god.
Until Fiat dies, it's gonna be cycles, dude.
It edges out though, right? Like it'll get more.
No, it doesn't. It only gets worse.
It'll get less volatile over time.
It has.
It's gonna dude. Look at Weimar. It's worst.
Oh god. But that happened in like 3 years. Like in 30 years, we'll be fine.
Every time you want a little bit of a perspective on this, look at that chart, the Weimar chart. It's brutal.
Yeah. And it's like up, down.
The swings just keep on getting more violent. Yeah. No. Remember, we're not even like we haven't even started, right? Like we're still, having small tech companies pivoting to becoming Bitcoin ETFs in the stock exchange.
MBK, was the book you were thinking about called Tragedy and Hope?
No. No, it's a book in Latin from I don't know, like 1,000 years ago. The Divine Comedy. The Divine Comedy.
Okay. Is that Homer? Who is that?
I can't remember. Maybe Dante? No. I think
this has been fun. This has been a lot of fun. Matt, we do have to jump here.
Yeah, MBK, thanks for joining us. Do you have any final thoughts?
Stay humble, stack sats, and follow the fucking bot. It's free, goddammit.
I mean, I got nothing.
Peace and love.